the world's not running out of oil. There's all kinds of oil left in all kinds of places. So it's not about running out of oil. We're never going to run out of oil. But what the world is going to run out of is the oil that you can afford to burn.
Jeff Rubin is known internationally for his prescient calls on oil prices and the effects that has on international financial markets. He's also the author of the 2009 book, Why Your World is About to Get a Whole Lot Smaller. He joins me now. Jeff, welcome.
Welcome.
Good to see you.
Good to be here in Copenhagen.
Yeah, so let me ask you straight away, why is my world about to get a whole lot smaller?
Well, the reason that your world's about to get a whole lot smaller is in the very near future, we're going to revisit those triple-digit oil prices that we saw in 2008. And in a world where oil costs in the triple digits, distance costs money. It's not going to make any sense to be importing our steel or our food from far-off places like China just because their labor's cheaper, because what we'd save on the wage rate, we'd more than squander on the bunker fuel.
So what you're saying is that that high oil prices are going to mean the end of globalization.
That's right. I mean, the whole idea of globalization is the separation of production from markets. The idea that you can produce something at one end of the world to be sold at the other end of the world. One of the prerequisites for globalization was the dismantling of tariff barriers. But the other prerequisite was cheap oil. Because no matter how you move goods around the world, whether you move them by air, whether you move them by ship, whether you move them by rail or by truck, you're burning one fuel and one fuel only, and that's oil.
So what lies behind this idea that oil prices are going to continue to skyrocket or be up in the
Well,
triple
you know,
digits?
the world's not running out of oil, and it never will. There's something like 170 billion barrels of the stuff trapped in Canadian tar sands. There's about 500 billion barrels of the stuff trapped in Venezuelan tar sands. Unfortunately, the very prices that will get that oil out of the ground are the same prices that are going to get you to stop using it. Depletion isn't just a geological term, it's an economic term. Yes, we're not running out of oil, but we're running out of oil that we can afford to burn.
Let me ask you this question. If I'm an investor and I'm either invested in commodities like oil or maybe generally just a portfolio investor in the markets, what is all this going to mean?
Well, the first thing you got to realize as an investor in oil is the U.S. ain't driving this bus, okay? It wasn't U.S. oil demand that took oil to $147 a barrel a couple of years ago, and it won't be U.S. oil demand, or for that matter, OECD oil demand that's going to bring us back to triple-digit oil prices. Looking for U.S. oil inventories every week is looking for oil in all the wrong places. That's not where demand's coming from. Demand's coming from the newly industrializing countries like China, Russia, India, Brazil, just as the developed world has